That's what that guy does.
He seems like a watcher. Yeah,
he's a watcher. He's not participating. He's in the corner, just creepily put his fingers together.
with that Girl Scout outfit he had on at the party.
So what's up, man? I'll tell you this. Okay, I've done this podcasting gig at this studio probably 1,500 times. We've done shows here, and I've never been more nervous than getting on to do this one than I have, because I want to just make sure that it's like, oh man, I even wrote down all sorts of notes and things I want to talk about.
Look at this. He's got his own book.
I probably wrote more notes today on this than I have ever written for all 1,500 episodes of every show I've ever done.
Yeah, man. No, hang on. All right, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Good. Yeah.
Okay. We can't hear him though.
We can't hear him. Hang on, I'm gonna figure this out.
Okay.
All right, because you're not popping up. You're not registering on my. Hang on, let me. It's recording, but I think it's only getting our voices.
Okay, I'll keep talking there and see if it's picking it up. Is it getting you? Is it getting me?
Keep talking.
Okay. All right. This is me talking. I'm still talking. I'm blabbering on about a Holly notes that I took today.
Okay. I don't. Hang on.
Is it going? I can get closer to the mic. Get right up in this thing.
It's not. Why is that? It's not working.
Is it recorded?
It's not recorded, but he's not. It's not. It doesn't.
Check. Mike, is it going? Hello, everybody. No. Check. Can you hear me?
That's me. We can hear you, but you're not registering on Audacity. You got any tips on that?
What are you guys recording? You guys are recording to Audacity. What computer are you on a PC or a Mac?
PC.
So I'm wondering if I've ran into this problem before too. Inside Audacity's settings, like, are you going directly from the mixer, like right to the audio input, like the microphone input on the side, or are you going into like a device, like a USB device or something before?
We're in a USB device before.
So inside Audacity, sometimes you need to like select the hardware input. So if you go to like the preferences on Audacity, that's probably what's going on. Because you guys can hear me because you guys are plugged into the headphone jack, right?
Yeah. And this wasn't an issue yesterday, like at all. Sorry.
This always happens. Trust me, man. My friends make fun of me all the time. They're like, "We've done this 800, 900 times, and you still can't get this right."
Okay, wait. I think maybe that worked. Hang on.
Just so you guys know, I sent Barrel Roller the link.
Oh gosh, I told him.
I got all the time in the world, man. So if we can work it out, no big deal.
I got a whole bottle of whiskey. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. I got a fridge full of beer over there. I got the one to start it off here. I did hustle back from the girlfriend's house to get here, and she's gonna. I should send her the link so she can tune in too. She's like, "Where are you going?"
to show where you actually are.
Important things, important stuff.
Yeah.
Look at my notes.
I took so many notes, man.
Speakers. That's in. Okay, there's that. Okay. Got that. And then we're set there. And then
you guys sound great. I'm coming through your headphones fine, right?
You sound amazing on our headphones. It's just not popping through on Audacity.
So you can see it in the waveform, right? It's picking your waveform up, but it's just not picking mine.
Yeah, no. And like, so the problem is, here's what I had to do. The mixer that I used last 2 nights ago with us is just this little USB mixer. And I can't, like, we would have to be up to like close together in order for our headphone splicer to be plugged into it.
Here's the thing, like, I'm recording it into my mixer right now. I can see that I'm capturing everything on your end. What I can do as soon as I'm done, I can just put it in a Dropbox file and just give you the link. You can just yank the WAV file over, and you can just do what you want with it. So I'm getting everything right now on both ends.
I got no clue. I make paint.
Yeah, I mean, we could totally do that.
I'm recording it over here. I'm definitely getting everybody. So
all right. Well, I feel bad making you do all the work.
Oh no, dude, don't worry. That's what this place is here for. Come on, man. You feel bad that the studio is used?
You got to see it.
Well, hey, let me get you on my podcast and make you record it.
No, dude, no, man. Trust me. Like I said, I wish you would talk to me beforehand. I would have totally given you. I would have loved to talk about this stuff. I'm such a nerd when it comes to this crap.
Well, yeah, like honestly, I was like, this is something I want to do. I don't know how to do this, so I'm gonna just guess and
would you start buying stuff?
Yeah, like a blind man in the woods, just trying to feel my way out.
Like I said the other night, man, I said all the growing pains I went through, man, I'll steer you clear of that crap. I bought the shittiest, cheapest mics before. I bought these mid-range mics that sounded like okay. Then I bought these expensive ones that sounded not as good as the reasonably priced ones. And I'm like, what? These don't sound much different than these. Why am I wasting my money to get this? Yeah, so I've probably spent shit. I don't even want to guess how much I've spent on stuff inside here. Yeah, it would not be fun. But right. Yeah, dude, I'm getting everything, so we're good.
Oh, all right. Well, then let me just.
Language is an issue, right?
Well, no, I mean, I'll edit it.
I'm gonna try to stay PG-13. I'm not gonna. I won't kick into any bad things.
PG-13 is one F-bomb.
You do. You do. You. I don't. React and be who you are, man. You don't have to say it.
Just before we start, my parents, they don't drink and they don't smoke and they're very religious people. They're pretty straight-laced. And I go over there for holidays and things like that, and I can just fit right in and smile and have my good old time. I'm good at censoring myself pretty good. Now on the flip side, my girlfriend's parents, they are fun. And all the things I just mentioned, they do, and they have a good time. So it's a good time.
Nope, man. All right, well, I guess I'll just do the cheesy intro, and then we'll just hop right into it. Cool.
Sounds good to me, man.
All right, man.
We're actually live, though.
I know. Well, because like on the podcast, I had to do the intro.
Yeah.
The other thing about this too is I will. This YouTube is getting recorded live to the Bay City Independence YouTube channel, but I'll just turn it to private, so no one is going to see it unless they're tuning in right now. Like my girlfriend she just chimed in and said she's watching me. So hey, how's it going?
Hi.
And I'll definitely turn that to private so nobody can sneak in there and watch it while you're doing all the editing and post-production stuff. So
okay. Well, cool, man. I appreciate that. Do you, man. This is I'm trying to learn from you. So okay. So welcome to the Vintage Baseball Podcast. I'm Swamp Fox Frias, broadcasting somewhat live from Columbus, Ohio, and I am joined by
Dynamite Frias and Kid Frias.
And today we have a very special guest on the VBBP. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Kid Garcia from the Bay City Independence. Longtime vintage baseball enthusiast.
Yes. And this has been an episode that we've been gunning for and trying to put together for a few months. And I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, it is my pleasure. I miss you guys, and I haven't seen you probably since August, September time. So just to see your faces during the holidays is a good present to have. So it's great to see you guys.
Man, guys,
listen to this guy.
Already the best guest we've ever had. This guy, man,
and he's not too shabby a ball player either.
Yeah, right. You know what? Let's hop in there. Let's get into it. Take a second just for our. I don't know if you know this. We have like 12 followers. So, introduce yourself to our listeners, to us. Tell us how you got involved in vintage baseball.
Okay. It all started back in 2004. It was the winter of 2004. One of my close friends' brother is Jamie Cap Johnson, and he said, "Hey, he's trying to drum up some interest in a local historical baseball team, vintage baseball team." And he wanted. I think he was being a little sneaky with it because my brother is a very, very good college baseball player, good high school baseball player, holds all kinds of records, played on the dream team at Tiger Stadium, all that. So I had a feeling he was trying to like sneak his way into getting my brother on the team. So of course I asked my brother to be on the team, and that was back in 2005. And 15 seasons later, we're still playing. But at that time it was, I was a big wiffle ball player. I played a ton of wiffle ball in my youth, rediscovered it in my early 20s after I got a job, which sounds really hilarious because once you get a job, what are you going to waste your money on? Plastic balls and playing wiffle ball. So the first probably 5 years of me playing vintage baseball, I was in this kind of tug of war with with wiffle ball still. So, you know, it just we would travel all over the Midwest. You'd meet friends and playing wiffle ball. But after a while, it got kind of discouraging because I have a really nice field in my backyard, and we traveled to places where they just didn't keep. You were playing in the outfields at softball diamonds that are all dried out and nasty, and you're paying hundreds of dollars for hotel rooms and you know, all this entry fee to attempt to win games. And it got kind of discouraging when you show up and these guys are just mowing you down. You would barely touch the ball playing wiffle ball. So I kind of about 2006, I kind of veered more towards vintage ball and just put the pedal to the metal with vintage at that point. Kind of kept it going. So this is our 15th season of playing coming up here. And I think I'm one of only 3 original club members that were on that original Independence team. I think Little Train, Adam Johnson, Tanner LaRue, and myself are the 3 originals. Now Cap comes back every once in a while to play, but he kind of, you know, he pulled the reins back a little bit last year and has played a couple games. So if you include him, there's still 4 original members.
That sounds a lot like Capitals.
Yeah, it does. It's totally Capitals. Like,
you're looking at 3.
I think
you got the 3 OGs here, and that's about it.
And then Mike Bandit. He's our Wyckoff. He's the
next in line for tenure.
So I mean, and like our father, obviously he played like 5 games this year.
He pulls the Brett Favre. I'm retired.
It's great that your dad is out there doing, you know, kind of doing this stuff, because I've always been curious why my dad stopped playing ball, and my brother kind of took his. He did the same kind of thing. He played for a number of years and he just kind of cold turkey, I'm not playing anymore. And I'm just like, how do you do that? I don't even know what the feeling of not having that urge to play feels like. I can't imagine being on the other side of that wall.
Well, I can tell you, it's killing Pops. I mean, he said years ago, you can only play hard for so long, and things catch up. And I remember multiple trips to the ER playing softball, you know, for him when we were growing up, you know, diving headfirst into bases, running into fences, running into trees, making the plays, and just not caring. And, you know, he played for 30 years worth of ball, and, you know, played 20 years with us.
And, and I think like, and that's something like we don't, I don't want to say we take for granted, but we don't really recognize every time that we're able to play baseball with our father, who's like 62. And you know, so that's why I love vintage baseball so much. And
with that in mind, there was a team in Midland that played the Mighty Riverhogs, and they had a guy who was in his early 70s, mid 70s. I think it was Logjammer. He was playing up in the 70s, and I've always like, okay, that's cool. He's out there. He's still playing. I mean, just suiting up and going out there. You got to get that boyhood kind of like I'm a kid again feeling, and that never goes away, you know. And I love that's part about it that I love.
They had 3 generations. They had Logjammer, they had Geronimo, and then Geronimo's son playing in the World Tournament. Played him 2009-ish, 2008.
Somewhere around then.
And he was 72. Playing second base.
I always look forward to seeing him. There's a photo that I have with, I think it's either me or Doc, my brother, that is a photo of him next with you. And I just remember the newspaper that I worked at. I think one of the photographers shot it. I have a copy of it laying around somewhere, but it's just a great shot of the 2 of them, because he was pretty. He was a little man. He was a little guy. Still out there playing.
Hey, you know what? We're tossing around nicknames and identifying people. How did you come about your nickname?
My nickname, because I had heard the story of Babe Ruth calling everybody kid, because he just didn't remember names very well. and I'm a big Ricky Henderson fan, and I know that Ricky had a little memory problem too.
Oh yeah.
And I thought to myself, okay, I need a nickname. Plus, I'm notoriously immature. I'm into potty jokes. I'm into just goofy, just dumb stuff to make people laugh. I'll be I love making people laugh and just kind of goofing off being an idiot. So I thought, you know what, I want to be kid. I want to be the kid forever. So I actually chose the name myself, which is odd in this game. It's odd in this game to have that. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
Because
I used to have a very young
age appropriate nickname.
Because I came in as a bat boy, so I was what 6, 7.
Yes,
I actually have pictures of it up there on the bar.
It became like I got into high school, and I'm like, I don't want to go by this anymore.
It was Dimples, by the way.
It was Dimples.
Dimples.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
We have a girl who used to be on the podcast who we call Dimples, and she had some big dimples. But
hey, kid,
it could be worse. It could be worse. It could be way worse.
Connection. I'm pretty sure we're losing connection right now.
No, girls love the dimples, man. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did we agree to do this?
No, man. That's awesome.
So Swamp Frog, I'm sure you've talked about your nickname, but how did you get your name? We've never had that conversation. Have you mentioned that in the show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Capital
a good
City
one.
Iceman.
No,
Capital City Iceman.
yeah, one of I think it was like 1994, maybe
1995. Yeah, because I was still in high school.
We were in Canal Fulton, Ohio, and they play right next to the canal, and it had rained the entire week before, so the outfield was flooded. Like it was like ankle high water, and we had entered into a tournament.
It
was eight guys.
8 guys.
And Eric, who was
7 guys and
a child
and a bat boy.
And
So who by the way had the only 4-bagger of the day.
Yeah.
I make the ball go boom, dynamite. Come on now.
Okay.
14 hopper back to the pitcher. And he
So I was in the outfield and just running around in the swamp playing, and they're like, "Hey, Swamp Fox is stuck." So they were like, "Hey, then that's it."
Dad gave it to you, didn't he?
Yeah. It was that.
It's funny how
kind
names stick like that. They do.
right. And Ian got.
I started when I was 13 with the men.
So your kid nickname is way more legit than me just coming up with it because of the Babe Ruth story. So
Yeah. Well, he was a kid playing with men.
I was a kid playing with men, and
I've always been envious of you playing at that age because I would have loved to have had the same amount of years as you have had in. And you're how much younger than I am?
I don't know. I just turned 40.
Man, this guy's timeless. He's not old.
I'll be 44 in May.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm 4 years.
I wouldn't guess that.
It was all necessity. The Capitals couldn't get anybody else. So like, we'll take you 3.
Yeah. No, and to be honest, it was great playing when I was that young. It's great to be able to say, I played all of my teens and done all that. But truth be told, I was scared to death.
Yeah,
because they had me playing shortstop, and those guys, they didn't take mercy on the little kid.
We all,
it's crazy when we're pretty young, and you walk up to somebody and we're like, "How many years you got in?" I was like, 20. They're like, "How old are you?"
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. Like I said, I'm envious of you guys to have that many years in. And we're like I said, we're going to our 15th year.
Yeah,
and that's a long time. But you still have a significant amount ahead of us, and that's good to have. I mean,
that's excellent that we have teams in double digits that stick around.
Yeah,
and when they stick around that long, I consider them clubs.
Yep. Well, I mean, come on now. The Bay City, they are the club.
They are.
The thing is, like you're saying, with families, third generations, with the River Hogs, you guys. My kid just got done playing basketball for the first time, and her mom and I were talking to like, this is the first time she was on a team, I think, because when it was done, I was talking to her and she said, "I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss those guys." And I said, she goes, "We were like a family." And I go, "That's exactly right. You were like a family." I said, that's how you had a good time. You were hanging around with people that you loved. You like to be with them, and that's really what vintage is. I kind of got out of the softball and the wiffle ball thing because it just got a little too intense. People were putting too much of an emphasis on the W's, which the W's are great to get, but if you can't even talk to the people that you're hanging out with afterwards,
what are you doing?
Then I don't know if it's worth it.
Oh, yeah, right. And I think that's, honestly, that's what we preach and we keep coming back to, especially for our club. And it's funny, like we've been around for a lot longer. You're celebrating your 15th year, and I constantly say, like, there are only 2 clubs that I constantly try to emulate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of them is Bay City. Just the way you guys do things.
You guys go about it the right way.
And I'm like, that's what I want. That's the standard we want to continue to uphold, So And I mean, because honestly, when we first saw you guys, you scared the piss out of us.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Like we saw you up at the World Tournament. We're like, who the hell are those guys?
Your guys' epic battles with the claw busters just
we
scared
were,
the hell out
we
of
were
us.
glad not to be in those games.
They're like, yeah, they both put up 30. I'm like, how?
Well, I mean, if there's one thing I can totally just give credit to, it's Jamie. He doesn't go out to try to get, like a stack a team or anything like that. Of course, I say this just after I talked about him trying to get my brother to play with us, but a lot of the guys on that original club were brothers. You had the LaRue brothers, you had the Johnson brothers, you had the Dienauers, you had there were a ton of brothers on that team. And if you guys can completely back me up on this, brothers know how brothers are going to do. You're going to try to either outdo your brother or encourage your brother. So if you get a team full of brothers on there, you're gonna be solid. So
I don't think we've seen us play. I want him to make a mistake.
Yeah.
You guys are like, you want to pull the rug out. You want to pull the rug out from under.
Yeah, because the bigger laugh we can get out of it, the better off we are.
Yeah, they will be the first one to laugh at you and point out that when you make a mistake. Yeah. So that's why I try to play as close to perfect as always. Forever, so it's
impossible. There is no perfect.
clearly, you haven't seen us play lately.
Well, no, that would be our motto. There is no perfect.
It's funny because like we could sit here like just shooting the shit forever, just talking and stuff. But the whole reason we wanted to talk to you about interview you on the podcast was I wanted to kick around and discuss this notion of being a 19th century baseball club in the 21st century. Like how, like every aspect that yourself, and then what I try to do for the Capitals to like promote the game and get interest in clubs, in the club through social media or whatever. And, I just wanted to, take some time and talk about that. Mm-hmm. And then, just to piggyback, I just wanted to take some time to also talk about this amazing idea you had to kind of bring the vintage baseball community together. So let me ask you this question first. Let's just start off with, how do you think social media could be a positive influence or a great tool for a vintage baseball club?
Okay. I think right now the way that we're in a time right now that's very, very, I would say volatile with the way that Facebook is talked about. Yep. You're on Facebook to see what your friends and things are doing, your family and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, there's a lot of negatives and things and what they're doing with your data.
Yeah.
My background with a lot of this is very, very old school, something that actually ties back to the time when with newspaper, I used to work at a newspaper for about almost 20 years, about 17, 18 years. I worked at a newspaper. So I kind of straddle this line of the old school media way of thinking. And I was just happened to get my job at the paper when the computer was kind of, coming into its own, the internet and all this stuff. And I mean, when you work at a newspaper, you get your job at a newspaper when you're a kid, you're like, this thing's been around for 150 years. I got my job. This thing's going to be around for a long time. This is going to be great. So with that in mind, you're just like, you could never have foreseen this internet showing up in social media and the phones and all of these ways that you can connect with everybody.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, it's great that you can find people that are into that sport or into any interest that you have. And you can get down to the the tiniest of detail and find a person out there who's into that exact same thing, which I think kind of leads back to what happened back in the early days when I was playing wiffle ball. I would, if I'm playing wiffle ball in my neighborhood, I'm never finding my friends in Grand Rapids and Chicago and Minnesota and all over the Midwest that I found in those early days to get interested in wiffle ball. So back in 2000, when I was into that, there was one central website that everybody went to. It was called the Wiffle Ball Network, and it was at wiffleball.net. If you go to the Internet Archive, it's still there, and you can see it, and you can't search it, and you can't do anything with it. But what you did there was you went in, you logged in, you gave them your email address, you told them your height and your weight, and what team you played on, and how far you were willing to travel. All these little details that when you're first on the internet, you find something cool like that. You're like, this is cool. We have this central database of everybody playing wiffle ball, and they had one message board that wasn't even categorized. It was pretty much just a long string of people just making comments, and it was like the Wild Wild West, and it was crazy. But they had a tournament database, so you could easily find where the tournaments were, and that was the biggest thing, because you could go and say, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Let's go to Chicago. Let's enter in this tournament, try to go and win it. And that's what you did. You would go to Chicago, all over the Midwest to try to play wiffle ball. So that was going on for a long time, probably between 2000 and sometime in the mid 2010, maybe 2012, 13. I think wiffle ball kind of got caught wind of it, and they wanted to gobble up all the names that were associated with the term wiffle. Yeah. So they kind of stopped that. So it wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I had said, why don't we have something like this for vintage? We all know how to use the technology now. Mm-hmm. I said that was something that went on almost 20 years ago now.
Right.
And I said, there definitely needs to be something for that. So I kept drumming up these ideas to use. And the one day it just occurred to me, I'm like, well, what is it? It's a database. I'm like, well, you idiot, database ball. It sounds brilliant. I mean, why didn't I think of this years ago? Everybody wants the database of baseball players. And so a couple of guys were asking me, they're like, what are you going to do with it? I was originally going to have it open to any baseball league that was anything. If you're a T-ball player or a high school baseball player, college, anything, just get in there, because everybody who's a baseball person is a baseball person.
Absolutely.
And then I was like, that might be biting off a little more than I can chew. So I kind of dialed it back and said, let's just do it with vintage and see how it works and see if there can be anything drummed up by it. And, when I initially launched it last summer, the numbers, it shot up. I think there's almost 200 people in there now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This off season, it's a little, it gets kind of stale during the off season, and I haven't really been in there to update and do a lot of stuff with it. But
yeah,
I just hope that it's something that I'm going to keep going, and kind of just, it's a little, salute to that old wiffle ball network that inspired me to do it. And it's not there to compete with Facebook. It's not there to compete with any other website, because there's a bunch of websites with baseball people on it. But I really, really want this one to just be people who are into historic baseball, to be able to connect with historic baseball people, and to feature, tournaments all over the Midwest that we can have, but also, feature tournaments out in California, out in the West, or even anywhere who's into vintage baseball. So.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Well, I absolutely love it. When you sent me the beta version, I absolutely loved it. And the potential for it is more than it's so much more different than Facebook, because Facebook's very impersonal. Anybody can get on. Everybody that's on here, we pretty much know.
Mm-hmm.
And if word's going to spread, because I'm sure that the guys in Minnesota are going to get it, and when Frankenmuth comes around next season, this is going to be talked about. So the Colorado guys are going to take it back. And then from there, it's going to go to the Arizona guys have a full-fledged league.
Yeah.
They play weekly.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when we play against other teams, I have a hard time trying to communicate with everybody, but I'll recognize faces and stuff, but maybe I haven't talked to the person, don't know their name.
Yeah.
But with this, I can go on there and like, oh yes, I know this person. Right. I can see his face. I can send him a message. I can say, hey, if I could, what I ended up doing with it last year is when we played against a team, I would go to the database, see if anybody from that club was there. And then I would try to, okay, I'm going to friend that person. I'm going to try to strike up a conversation with them. I just want to, if the internet's used for good, it will be used to bring a community of people together.
Right.
To try to build up the community. And that's the biggest thing you can do. It's not to steal their information, to sell to advertisers, to do all these things that
Yeah, right.
But that's the essence of baseball,
right?
Like this game isn't meant for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know I said it on the first podcast. Vintage baseball is like a fine wine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant for everybody.
Yeah,
I was thinking more like a really hard bourbon.
Oh well, whatever.
So you gotta be crazy to try it.
But
how many times have you had guys that have said, "Oh, I would like to come out and try," and then you're like, "Okay, take your glove off, go out there and start shagging," and they're like, "Wait a minute."
It never gets to that point. I play ball with I work with a lot of guys that play ball in D1 colleges, and they played some minor league ball, and it's like, oh, I'd like to try that vintage thing. The ball comes in underhand. Oh yeah. You stand there until you get a pitch. Yeah. But there's no gloves. Ooh, wait a second. There's what? Yeah, there's no gloves.
Yeah,
You got to catch the ball barehanded. And they're like, whoa, wait, why? And you lose instantly. You lose 60% of the people instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It's
sometimes what sucks about that like sometimes, what's really, I mean, I've thought about this before. The reason I think some of the guys quit is because, and it stinks because some of the guys can probably just mash the hell out of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason they stop. They don't want somebody hitting that ball as hard as they hit it at others. At them.
That's actually the response I get is, I don't want to stand there at third base and let somebody kill me. But you'll stand there and hit at them. Oh yeah, no problem.
But back to like the database site and stuff. I think one of the key features for me on that site is that map where I can go. I can go and move around the map, zoom in on stuff, and it's not even. I mean, there's not even half of the independents aren't even on the thing yet.
Yep.
And I need to encourage them to go on there and register and stuff like that. But the map is great. There's an events calendar. You can submit your events. The biggest thing there is I just have to I have to kind of monitor that to make sure that there's not a lot of spam or little bots or all that crap. So.
Right.
But to have, these groups that you can set up to communicate, I still kind of want to put that one big message board in there of nonsense so anybody can just chime in, because that would be great. Imagine during the game, okay, if you're up on the hill at Greenfield Village and you're chiming in as the game's going on, and 5 other people are on the hill doing the same thing while it's going on, but people are at home who have left, or people who are interested are there too, participating and asking questions with the people that are there live. I mean, that the potential there is pretty cool.
That would have been so great for the championship game this past season. That would have been absolutely great for everybody.
Instead of having keep asking the score.
Well, not even that, but just how it ended. You would have seen the whole thing's like, look what happened. Why did you do that? And stuff like that. And I'm fully behind the never-ending comment thread.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, one of the things all these social networks try to do, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the thing that they've tried to do over the years has been, we're gonna sift through this stuff and give you just the things that we think that you wanted by how you browse things. Right. I'm a fan of more of the chronological order. This photo just came in before that one did, so this is the one you see now.
Yeah.
So this message board in my mind would be very much like that. So you could go back and see what happened at 5 o'clock on the day of the Sunday championship at Greenfield, and you could scroll back and you could read it.
I like it.
So
I think that, and I mean, you've started to touch on like some of the features that are that the data baseball club have. I mean, and you started to actually talk about what, a vision that in the future, like what you would like to see. I mean, how can we spread the word about this thing for you? Like, how can we like get up? Obviously, I think the Capitals may only have like 2 or 3 people signed up on it.
Yeah.
But like,
are you on it?
Raise your hand if you're on it.
One day after practice, I took the guys to my office. I took the guys to my office the one day after practice and said, "Guys, come here. Let's register. Get in here and do it." Yeah. But that was on like the beta earlier version of it. But I don't know. Maybe at your baseball banquet, have a computer there with it up on the screen and said, "Hey, go over and fill this thing out."
That's exactly what
that might be a way to. That might be a way to do it.
Have to fill this out.
Yeah. No food, no drink. Mm-hmm. Fill this out first. Yeah, I think that's the way.
That'd be the quick. That keyboard would be on fire.
one thing I want to stress too about any of this. I know sometimes people get really territorial about things, and I don't want to. I'm not here to kind of squish other websites. If anything, I want to promote other websites. So if you're doing vintage baseball stuff, if it's the VBBA or any of the other vintage baseball sites, I'm not. There's no shortage of websites out there featuring vintage baseball stuff. So that's the thing. I think people sometimes will get like, well, if they're not looking at my thing, they're looking at that thing. And I don't think it needs to be that way. There's plenty of stuff out there. Everybody just kind of needs to take the same mentality they do with the other players and teams. And just like everybody should encourage the promotion of the game. That's the thing.
I mean, I think in one of our first episodes, I talked about how this isn't like my inspiration for this came from Gypsy's Vintage Baseball Today podcast that he used to do like with frequency back like 12 years ago. And I was like, this is amazing. I want to try this. And it was just a celebration. It was self-promoting for the Capitals 20th season. And I thought it would be a lot of fun. But like you said, like the VBBA has an amazing website full of information for anybody who wants, but like they don't have that personal aspect that you have. And I'm not saying that's better. I'm saying that like if you're on a vintage ball club and you are traveling to Cleveland, Ohio for a weekend and you want to see if there's a vintage game in town or you're looking to play, like they could connect through the databaseball.com. Like,
isn't that like how you found a team in New York? Similar like that?
Similar. Yeah. I mean, like I know Feeney Marbles. He reaches out like whenever he's traveling for his festivals because that kid he's young, handsome, and has no responsibilities. So
and
like,
he's just the most talented athletically of any of us. He's wrestling and then he's playing vintage all day. And then that dude is
he's
nuts.
Got abs, whatever.
I wish I had a half of that dude's energy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
I think I only have half that energy.
I think you are half of him. He is half of you.
I was about to say, whatever.
But I think that's an amazing aspect about that. Like I was immediately drawn to when I got sent the link. I was like, oh my gosh, I can connect to anybody, and on it. I think it's great.
And like I said, over the past couple of months, I have not been on it as much as I want to be or will be as the months head towards the season and stuff like that. I'm going to go in there and do a bunch of changes and add new things and be much more involved with it. I kind of wanted to get it out there because a lot of the times as a creative person, you second guess yourself a little bit sometimes. I don't know how many things I've created that don't even see the light of day. Yeah. Just because you're like, is this ready to be released? And I've had a number of people I showed it to, and they're like, dude, get this thing out there. Yeah. Even if it's in the raw version that it is, you're only going to improve it as it progresses. Just get it out there and see what it does. So I'm glad that you guys kind of see how it can work. Because, and again, feedback, please.
Oh, no, I absolutely love the potential of what you have right here. I mean, and you touched on the Vintage Baseball Association, their website. I love their website, love everything that they're doing, but they're more of a business type. They're almost stuffy to a degree where it's very cut and dry. Here's what it is. Here are the teams. What you have right now is very personal. It's very interactive with other teams, with people almost instantly. Whereas with the Vintage Baseball Association, their website isn't. I wouldn't 100%.
I wouldn't say stuff. I know what I would say. I would say their website is designed for people who are like seeking historical knowledge based information.
Okay. Yeah.
And I believe what you've essentially captured is what like Eric talks about, what vintage baseball is about. It's like a club. Like I feel like I'm part of a special club here.
And again, I think a good combination of both is essential because, like you said, that historical aspect, what they're providing there is a ton of information. I've been on that site a bunch and I read up a lot, but you need both of those kind of aspects of it, and hopefully we can somehow, combine forces, promote the game. The biggest thing is always promoting the game. Anytime the game gets discouraged from, I think we've had some issues in the past few years where people sometimes will get negative about it and say bad, things about teams or this or that. And I'm like, you gotta pull back and just say, let's say somebody hears you discussing this who has never seen a game or is interested in getting involved in the game. I've always said to myself, okay, any conversation you're having about it, if you're over here poo-pooing a team or saying bad things about a team, and a person who's just approaching the game for the first time shows up, okay, and hears you discussing that, those people are going to turn the other way, because a lot of what you're getting now, at least from what I can say for myself, was I got out of softball and I got out of wiffle ball because stuff just got intense.
Right.
It got way too intense. They thought it was the last Game 7 of the World Series. It's not. It's not that. And we're in our 40s. We're in our 40s. We play against guys older, play against guys younger. I think the intensity level gets to people sometimes, but you always have to think to yourself, imagine if you're the kid over in the corner who is a potential player down the road, and he hears you saying something negative about it. He's going to turn and go away. Or even if it's a softball player looking to get out of the game he's in because he's heard all those conversations you're having in the past.
Right.
He just blew it. You could have brought in a stud who was a great family guy who could have been embedded in your team in a great kind of way. So it's like we got to kind of look at it more in that way. I know in the past when I played those games, early on, you let your youth and your energy get the best of you. But the age that we're getting now, like you said, you got to learn. You got to pick your battles.
That's for sure.
I mean, if I'm swinging the bat like you at 45, I'll be okay. I'm good. Thanks, man.
Well, I played in a wiffle ball tournament about a month ago at my brother's school, and I swing hard, and I tell everybody I swing like it will be my last swing because one day it will be.
Now he mentions wiffle ball. I've seen his backyard. He has 2 wiffle ball stadiums. That's what we'll call them. They have dugouts and benches and home run fences and baselines.
Wow.
I love my field. Yeah.
The setup.
Nice, man.
We played kickball back there after the Michigan Cup that year.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool, man. Yeah, we we used to play as kids in our little tiny rectangle backyard, but that's as far as we ever made it with wiffle ball. You know?
We're not on your level.
If it goes out in the street, you got to get it.
Yeah,
quickly before mom and dad see you, because you weren't allowed outside the fence.
I want to kind of circle back a little bit because you asked me more about social media, and I kind of blew it off thinking that because to me sometimes I struggle with it because of my old school mentality of like the print media, and I'm an artist, so I love seeing paintings on the wall and real stuff that you can hold on to.
The internet is like killing that, and it is.
But I think we have to kind of look at the way that music approaches vinyl records a little bit.
Oh yeah,
because there's like a renaissance with that where people they go out and they get vinyl, they get record players, and they do that kind of stuff. But I think the overall way to approach social media right now is just take the social aspect out of it and think to yourself, you have a phone in your pocket that can take video, it can shoot photos, and it can connect with other people. It can connect to websites. It can connect to all these things. So the overwhelming thing I try to tell everybody is just capture as much as you possibly can capture. Over the years, have Jamie Cap Johnson. I probably have at least 100 of his pregame speeches from pretty much day one of the team up until this year. I mean, I captured all sorts of speeches. In fact, I have a recording of the very first time we ever played in the championship game against the Cloudbusters, the game that you mentioned earlier. I have the first 3 innings recorded. So it's amazing to go back and hear that stuff. So if there's one word of encouragement or anything I can tell people out there right now, capture as much audio, take as many photos as you can get, capture as much video as you can get, because years down the road when we're old, we're trying to tell everybody we used to play this game. you can actually show them, and that's kind of why I put all this stuff up on the internet, because we'll be long gone, and they're gonna know, about the teams that we're doing right now, just like we know about the teams that were way back then.
Right.
Absolutely. And I mean I think that's something that I've seen, like especially in the past like 3 or 4 years, like with like Facebook living innings or people Facebook Live like a festival or something like that to try and just promote it, get it out there, get information for the community. And I mean, our team, I don't necessarily encourage them to do that because I never know what they're gonna say, and then so like I mean like our
uncut, uncensored version.
That's what it would be.
Oh yeah.
I think the thing is that's what all the teams would be. It would all the good stuff people would want to hear. You have to sanitize it a little bit.
Yeah.
It'd look like a bad episode of Cops.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think our sweet mother, bless her heart,
the best.
she is.
She tried.
She she'll video the entire game, like every game. I think she started this in 2010.
Yeah,
and
I think that's when we started really trying to write stuff down.
Yeah, we started like keeping track of stuff because we're like, man, we've been doing this since 1998 with the Capitals, and we should probably have some sort of record or something that we did stuff. And so like from 2010 till this past season, like I have every single at bat, every single error, and then
it's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It definitely fueled my curiosity for like video editing and throwing stuff together and just giving the guys something at the end of the season to look forward to. Like, look, man, here's a recap of everything we accomplished this season. Here's a recap of and I hope it's kind of like a labor of love, and I hope they really appreciate it because like I really want it to be nice for them.
No, so we like everything but the error videos.
The error video.
The error video.
That's my favorite part.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah,
all the bloopers, man. It's the best.
And he knows how to slow it down just at the nick of time.
Yes. Well, as you slide into a puddle.
Why is it is it rag on me day?
Well, while my brothers get laugh at me in the field, I get to laugh last at the end of the season. Laugh last at the end of the season because then I'd be like, oh, look at Ian, missed this, and look at Eric, missed that. This is the best part of my day.
And then here's Rudy. I made an error. This ain't making it.
Yeah. Rudy didn't make any errors this year.
You don't see any of my errors.
Hey, and this is what I tell the guys come up to me sometimes. They're like, "We feel so bad that there's no pictures of you." I'm like, "Why? Because your phone's somehow different than the one that I'm shooting with." I said, "It's the same phone. You can take pictures of anybody you want."
I've tried to take pictures on my phone. They don't come out like yours. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you. Here's the secret. And I told this to Red Stick last year because he's doing a lot of that with Walker now. And I said, dude, just take an overwhelming amount of pictures. Take a ton. I said it's gonna suck because you're gonna have to go and edit everything. But that's just it's true. You take 2,000 photos, you're gonna get 200 good ones. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So and the time is in the editing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we don't really have people with the attention span on our team to like tackle that task. So,
squirrel.
Yeah, right. So like it's kind of like that. Man.
Hold on, I'm empty.
Oh, we're refilling over here.
I enjoy doing the media for the team. It's something I think that helps promote the team and helps bring other guys in. Anytime we have a younger guy that comes in and shows up, I always try to take a bunch of pictures of them, get them up on the website, put them on the Instagram account, because I mean, it just encourages them to come back. It's a great promotional tool, and I think that the more you do that, the more you show the importance of what you're doing, the time you're taking for it. It helps everybody, just feel a little more it's like you're not just out there playing a game. It's you're building a brand almost for this, and I think that's important.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think, just for me personally, I think that's why what you've developed is like vitally important. Like, I just, it was like a 2-month period where I wasn't on it every day. And then like recently, like I got back on it and I was like, man, this is so cool. Look at and I just like rediscovering it again. It was dope, man. So
yeah, I showed J-Mac. He was one of the first people that I showed, and he's like, holy crap. He goes, dude, little vintage mini Facebook vintage ball. He goes, this is pretty cool. See, the thing is, like, for me, I eventually at some point want to offer more design services like that, but specifically for baseball. I don't want to, we do a lot of stuff at my work right now for everybody, but there's nothing I get more joy out of than doing design work for my friends and stuff like that, whether it's anything for print materials. Our vintage banquet was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I did posters. I did schedule posts. I did a schedule poster with our entire 2019 schedule on it. I did beer mugs with the logos on the side. I did slideshows. So it's when they showed up to the banquet, they walk into, we do it at my work. It's an old historic house. So we always have the historic baseball team in the historic house. They show up and they walk in and we have these beer mugs on this table with all the posters, and everybody sees them. And it's like a Christmas present that I give to the guys each year. And I look forward to doing it because it's the opportunity for me to like stretch my legs as far as design work goes. And I'm doing it for people who appreciate it, and they come to this event, and it's like what I eventually at some point want to do. I've always wanted my own little baseball card factory to just make cards for people who want them and do that kind of stuff. So
we get a pretty piece of paper.
So my next question, do you guys need a third baseman?
Yeah.
No, we do not. Okay. We just I got to throw a shout to our buddy Dakota Whispers Pine, man. That he came in from the outfield this year and he just killed it at third.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good boy. I tried to get Silverback to come in here tonight with us, but he's on the workout tip, and his daughters are hanging out with grandparents before they head to Arizona and stuff. So shout to Silverback.
Hey, speaking of baseball cards, did you get my pictures?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
They look good. I'm definitely sticking with the one viewing the Columbus uniform though.
Oh, okay.
There's so many. You played for so many teams. How many teams have you played on?
Total somewhere around 27.
Jesus, 27.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's the question. When you go to the Hall of Fame, which team are you going in?
Oh, I'll go in as a Capital.
Yeah.
Blue makes my eyes pop.
This is probably the most controversial topic of anything that we could talk about. But what's your take on like what you played 27 different teams? It's because you just want to play. You just want to play. You don't give a crap. You want to play. I have never worn another uniform other than the Independence uniform ever, and I probably will never wear another uniform other than the Independence. So like to me, it seems like a lot of drama is derived from people jumping to other teams and stuff. And I know this happened back in the day, so it's not like I can appreciate that. But I'm curious about your take on this because I run into this conversation all the time. I call Copper the vintage baseball lady of the night, jumping into the sack with anybody he wants to. Yeah. But I told him this year, I said, dude, establish that family down there in Canton, build that squad. It's important to do that. It's important to build that bond. Still do some, play some other games, whatever, with other teams and things like this. But I told him, I said, I'm greedy, and I'm greedy for this fact.
Yeah.
Every single hit I've ever had, every single run I've ever scored, all tallied on independent red.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's happened more recently, like in more recent history, like a lot more player jumping. Because I don't really remember it happening that much.
Well,
like when it first, of course,
players jumping from team to team.
Yeah,
more modern, maybe the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I love him to death, but perfect example would be Ink. I love him. Ink.
Yeah.
You can't get a more consistent hitter. You can't get a better guy. But let's see. 2 years ago, he played for 4 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
Regular on the roster, 4 different teams. Now, I don't know. I never tried to do that. I just kind of filled in where I could get in.
See, I think you look at it a different way. You're like, okay, I want to wear some uniforms. I'll play one game here, one game there. To me, that's a little bit different.
Than like
trying to join a team for a season.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And okay, so here's another scenario. Okay. And I know you have a lot of fans at the Worlds, kid. Okay.
Boy.
You had one in particular that you've talked about in the past, that one kid, right?
Owen, yes.
Yeah. Let's say you show up at that tournament in a different uniform. Is he going to recognize you? Is he going to he's going to be a little weirded out by that, isn't he?
He's going to have a lot of questions, but he's a ball player. He just wants to watch.
See, can you imagine Derek Jeter wearing an Oakland A's uniform?
No. And that's why when this kid sees Ian at the World Tournament in another uniform, his main question will be like, Ian, why is your left arm in a cast? And he'll say, my brother broke it.
See, there's like love of the game, and there's like love of the team, it's a good debate. It is.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm lucky. I'm super lucky that Jamie started the team when he did. He caught lightning, stuck in the bottle, man. And I was just lucky enough to get on when I did, because if I would be doing the exact same thing. I'd be jumping around if I didn't have the family that I have up here to do this. So I'm super, super lucky, and I appreciative to the independent people that have kept this thing rolling throughout these years. So
you guys have one of the best products out there, and it was an absolute honor to play with you guys when I did. and just to invade your space for 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, we all have history with splitting time between clubs because, like, when the Capitals were formed, they were formed out of the Ohio Village Muffins,
Right.
Mhm.
And so the Capitals played like 10 games in conjunction with the Muffins. So like we split time, and in the beginning it was a novelty thing because it's like, oh, there's another team in Columbus and it's the Capitals, and it was just the Muffins in different uniforms.
Yeah.
And but then as we made a conscious decision that we want to play more games with the Capitals because we like playing a more competitive style, I guess you would say. But like there was a little bit of a hostility there.
Yeah.
Like some of the older, more established Muffin veterans were like, no, you should be playing with the Muffins.
Right.
You should be available this weekend for us and not the Capitals. And I think ultimately what came down to it, and it wasn't like we don't like y'all, we don't want to play with y'all. It was like we were just having more fun playing for the Capitals, and
we didn't take the game too serious.
Yeah, we were just kids.
We still don't take the game very seriously.
You're right. But I feel like,
and again, with that in mind, even us talking about sticking with one team, even that is really it's almost too serious if you think about it. You're just out there having fun. You should kind of
Yeah.
No. Well, I see where you're coming on that, but being comfortable with the team and not having that wandering eye to go do this or do that, if you want to call it that, that's great. Having team unity and team continuity is just an absolute great thing.
There's nothing
what I told Copper this year was, I said you got to kind of set up a home base where you can establish that squad, because you're going to be invested in that space that's close to home. I'm definitely going to be. I want to promote this team. They're my club because it's close to home. And you're going to look for players that are also that way. And I think over the past probably 2 years, I've made it more of a point to communicate more with players that are in the area and stuff. So,
I think that's the thing. Like you want to put some roots in. You want to lay down some foundation with a club. And I think that's why, like, we're at an interesting spot in our club where we stick together. Like a lot of guys on our team are like, we don't want to really play anywhere else, and it's not a knock on anybody else. It's just like we've invested so much time into this club, and we like these people, and we've built this. I want everybody to have.
It's a brand, man. It's a brand, and I told and one thing too, and let's say Tanner, for instance, who he will pick up sometimes and go play for somebody else. Just I'll help this guy out, whatever. Let's say Tanner goes and like hurts himself a weekend ahead of the world tournament because he was out farting around with somebody. Okay. You think his independent teammates, we're going to understand because Tanner's Tanner, and he practically uses himself.
I had this conversation. I've had this.
So when you're relying on somebody, let's say Coda or something's playing third for the all year, and then the week before he's like, I'm going to go and pick up and play with a different team, gets hurt, and you're like, seriously? You got hurt. You're never gonna live it down. I mean, he got nailed on the hidden ball trick one time when I was up to bat, and I still give him shit. And that was 3 years ago. You get hurt before a big tournament playing for another team. He's never gonna hear the end of it.
Well, I mean, like honestly, we faced that with y'all at the tree bark, the lumberjack tournament. 3 years ago. Our ninth player was stuck in traffic. And we had to start the game, and I walked over to you, and you all had just won. You had just finished playing, and I think I in my heart, I was like, Rudy,
it had to be very hard.
It was difficult. I was like, this is so embarrassing because I was like, I knew exactly what was going on in your head. You guys had just won. You were going to play for the championship game, and I said, hey guys, does anybody want to fill in for us?
Is this the team that Grizzly did it?
Yeah. And then Grizz
he played every inning that game, which to me that was impressive. I was like, Grizz, you're gonna play the whole day.
It was like 95, 90 degrees.
And I was like, dude, you're just gonna play behind because I don't want you out in the field. I don't want you to get hurt before your championship game. And then we ended up losing and then having to play the next game, and we had 9. I was like, you don't have to play with it. He's like, nah, I'll play. And I was like,
that's the kind of guy he is, though, man. I love Grizz. He's one of the greatest, man.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it, because in between games we got like a 15-minute break, and he's underneath the tent with his feet on a chair, laying on his back.
Yeah, and he's got
he's got water on his forehead.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember being, just from my standpoint, incredibly nervous. I was like, do not get this guy hurt before his match.
Right.
That I won't be able to look y'all in the eye. And
I say that every time we after the pregame speech, I try to tell 1 or 2 guys, hey, let's not get hurt out there. I say it every time. It's always in my head, because at any moment you could totally wreck yourself and be done for the season. You know. We're old. There's no reason for us to kill ourselves out there.
I can't say that doesn't cross my mind every time I put somebody else's uniform on and go play. So it's like, should I lay out? Should I really stretch this far? Should I make this throw?
But it's instincts.
It is.
It's you play the game one way, and that's the only way you know how to play.
I kind of hope that they'll understand that I was trying to be athletic, and I was trying to make a great play. But chances are real good it'll make the blooper reel somewhere, and I'll never live it down.
So, hey, what are you looking forward to in the next season in 2019? What, like, you personally? It can be anything associated with like the database to the club. What are you looking forward to in 2019?
The first thing I'm looking forward to is the second festival at Frankenmuth, because I had a great time. Barrel really kicked ass last year when it came to that. Any assistance that I gave him, I was more than willing to and happy to, and I'm anxious to do it again. Yeah, that the ideas and stuff that he has and he comes up with are just they're contagious, because it gets your mind going, and it's just a great way to promote the game, and he's kicking butt with that. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing in that and doing anything I can to help. Last year I did the newspaper for him and did the t-shirts and a couple other things, but anything he needs, I'm here to do it. Last year I was hurt for a little of the season. I like an idiot. I played some drunken wiffle ball and hurt my shoulder. So I missed, I think, 5 games. I missed 5 games and still ended up second in hits on the team. So I don't know if that's anything to the I was getting copper crap earlier in the year.
I've seen.
How did I end up with more hits than you? I missed 5 flipping games.
Yeah, you're a machine, and I've seen your swing. So you're doing just fine.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, no, I mean, I would have to agree with you about Frankenmuth. Like, Barrel Roller and I have been just texting back and forth nonstop for months about it, and he's an unstoppable good idea machine. I mean, he's just kicking them out, and so I would have to agree with you, man. That we're all looking forward to that.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to go to the first time.
Yeah, you missed out.
Who's your front runner for the best facial hair?
Best facial hair.
Are you?
Well, you know whose facial hair is starting to rub off on me a little bit, not physically, because he's very close to me. I always say he's my oldest friend. Silverback with the salt and pepper kicking on through the face. He's starting to grow into his own, literally.
He's really starting to pull that gray, that silver in there, which is working for him.
Oh, come on, that guy has the biggest ego. We don't need to stoke that anymore.
Last year during the captain's match, I got some shots of him. I don't think I've ever seen him like with his chest out more in my life.
Yeah, he was.
Here I am, Silverback. He's great. I love Silverback. He's like my older brother that I didn't have. So him and you guys, I always hold in high esteem. I'm a big fanboy of baseball players in general, but I'm not ashamed to say I'm my brother's biggest fan. When he was playing ball, Silverback was another one. It's the same. You just, when they do good, you feel like, whoa, it's like getting a close up shot of your hero out there playing ball and stuff. So it's great to have that. So I like I said, I tried to get him in here tonight. I tried to get Barrel to come over too, but Barrel is anticipating that after Super Bowl recording that he wants to do. So
I immediately texted him after you bounced that idea off of me, and I was like, I think this is going to be amazing. So that's
the other thing that I'm anticipating coming, and this probably won't be till like February or March, around the same time that we're going to do that recording. I'm going to finally launch my kidgarcia.com site. I have alangarcia.com, which holds my my graphic design work and stuff like that. But I have kidgarcia.com as well, where it's going to be specifically baseball designs and things. So what I'm anticipating doing there is just creating posters for, like I said, fanboying out on my favorite vintage players, whether it's marbles or copper or any of those guys, who I'm a fan of watching. I want to make posters of them, put them up on the site. If they want to get them, they want to buy them, they can just purchase them right off the site. They're all from photos that I've taken of them over the years. So I kind of want to build a store almost of where you can just go and say, hey, I want some posters of this, or I want some baseball cards of this, and just have it up there.
I saw the poster you did for Copper at the World Tournament. Ooh, he showed me when he came in for the Ohio Cup, because we did some cage time beforehand, and he was showing me it, and just unbelievable work.
I did one of him for the banquet a couple weeks ago, and he still hasn't come up to grab it. So I love doing the pictures. I love taking photos. I shoot a ton of them. I have this beat up little camera that I take with me everywhere, but it just shoots a ton of pictures. And like I said, I love doing it. If I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't do it. But it's combining my two passions, baseball and design, and I just enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. So
that's awesome.
I'm hoping that at some point I make some money. Make a little bit of cash off of it. So, it's just a matter of getting it out there.
That idea alone, right there. I mean, vintage baseball players would love to purchase. Like you mentioned,
we're not ego.
You mentioned the possibility of having a baseball card. If you could, like,
we've always talked about that.
Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I want my own baseball card."
Well, now I don't know if I'll talk about this out there now, because if somebody wants to take the idea and all that, they can do that too. Because competition is always good, this, right? So I had this long conversation with Copper right after the World Tournament, and I said, okay, let's pick out the 18. Let's pick out 18 players from all the teams in the Midwest, and make a card of them. I'll get them here. I'll build some packs of the cards with random cards in them. Put them up on the website. You buy the cards just like you would down at the pharmacy when you were a kid. Just go down, you buy the packs. Now, what I was thinking is you buy the packs with, okay, so let's say you get a pack. I want a kid pack where it's a random 10 cards of other players with 10 cards of yourself. Okay. So let's say this comes to you in the mail. You open up the pack. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to be like, oh, this is awesome. You're going to set them down, and you're going to take a snapshot of them. You're going to put them up on Instagram or put them up on Facebook. And who's going to notice them? The people who are on the cards that don't have those cards.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's say Ray Pachuta from Mount Clemens, he looks and he's like, how the heck does Kid Frias have a freaking Pachuta card? I don't even have the Pachuta card. How does Feeney have a Copper card and Copper doesn't even have the Copper card? How does Cap Johnson have the Honest John card, but Honest John doesn't even have the Honest John card? It just drums up and creates this like buzz.
Yep. Because
I don't have that card, but somehow Goodfella has that card from Rochester.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So how does it? Pops from the Black Flags has everybody's card, and So I think so. That's my idea.
That's a good idea.
I think I can pull it off. It's just a matter of picking out those initial 18, 20, 30, or however many guys to do it with, and then how much of a hot seller will it be? Because you're really going to sell it to the guy themselves and then their close family. So you're not selling it to every.
Oh, I'll buy
it.
You're
not selling to
everybody. Well, it's a niche market.
Whether I'm in it or not, I'll buy.
It's like Topps baseball cards. I need that. I don't have that one. I need this one.
Sit here and trade. Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a
then just having a bag full of the card packs down at Greenfield Village for the World Tournament or whatever. But again, I'm putting this idea out there because it's what I had in my head, and somebody's hearing me going, "That's a good idea. Let's do it." And I'm like, "Okay, try to design them better than me."
Yeah.
Right.
It's not gonna happen. Oh man, that's wild. Well, man, you know what? We've taken up enough of your time, honestly. Like, I can't thank you enough for like.
No, this is great.
Yeah, like just agreeing to be with us and talk about this, and then sharing all of your knowledge.
Oh, there it
is. I got bored the other day. I just started doodling on this one and just started drawing on it. I wish I would have brought some of the stuff home that I did for the banquet. I had the beer mugs and all sorts of things.
No. We don't need to see that because it just puts to shame my little piece of paper that I give the guy. I need
to throw a shout to Red Stick though, because he mid-season, it was right around Frankenmuth. He brings me one of these wood burner because I wanted to start doing some stuff on the bats. Yeah. I wanted to start to wood burn on the bats. So I have some posters for him that I'm gonna get to him in the next couple of days. He's gonna come up and visit me. I'm gonna give him his posters. But I love, that's one of the things I want to get. I think everybody should get back to doing a little more hands-on stuff. Imagine if the internet and everything goes away. You still have to make a living doing creative stuff.
Right.
You know, you can draw and paint and do more stuff creatively that way. So I have always had this crazy, I'm getting off the grid. I'm just gonna do traditional art and try to manage it that way. But
yeah, man.
So the wood burning stuff. Can you imagine? I did this for Copper. Put his name on the bat and stuff like that, and I really, really got into just that old school feeling of burning the name into the bat. I really got into it, so I'm pretty pumped about heading into the season. If anybody wants to, come up with something to put on a bat, I'm down for that. So.
Hey, hit me up if Red Stick comes in and he's got some time. I'd love to talk to him about like what made him decide to want to turn bats and stuff like that, and talk about that whole.
Yeah, he'd be a good one. He'd be a good one to come on.
Yeah. I'm like, you realize after, you get past a certain amount of topics in vintage baseball, you're like, what else can we talk about? So like just trying to generate content and stuff. So, but like, I've always wanted to, talk to him and see what he thought. But
I think I hit all my notes. I should show you what I've made for my notes today on this. You'd be like, I think I hit on everything.
So I had all these notes, and then like I didn't even have to ask half the stuff because you just
went right into
it. I was like, well, that's done. Oh, and there's that. Man, it was amazing, dude. It's like you've done this before.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no shortage of, you get a coffee or a beer with me in front of the microphone, I'll go on forever.
That's lit, man. And like seriously, like I'm gonna bug you about like, while I won't be able to have that setup that we're looking at, but like just any advice I can get from you, I mean, cherish it.
You don't need all this nonsense. I can show you a good mic and a way to keep it real portable. And quality will be good for relatively next to nothing. Pretty cheap.
God, where were you last year when I had this idea? God, man.
But who did you talk to? You didn't talk to me about it, because I would have been like, dude, you need a co-host? I'll co-host with you for sure, man.
Dear Google,
I was like,
how do I start a podcast?
That's what I typed. How does one start a podcast? And like I was just reading, and then like I would just read, and yeah, man, you can tell, but it doesn't matter. You like Eric? No, Ian said the other. He's like, you're Yoda. Yeah, like you're our Yoda. I want to be. We'll get there eventually, but
I appreciate you guys saying that, and like I said, any help, man. I enjoy this stuff, and I enjoy other creative people around me doing the stuff too. I think that's one thing that makes an artist an artist is I'll fully admit I do not have all the ideas, and I want other creative people to be around me to light a fire sometimes, to get me to think differently, to think about other things, and hopefully it works off of each other, because the more creativity you have around each other, it always benefits everybody. So I'm not like one of these people who, I don't want to have those people who do the same thing I do around. You find that a lot where people get a little, I'm gonna hide my right. talents and things like that. And I don't want that at all. I want people to, take the baseball mentality. We love baseball because we like, just how it makes us feel and what we can do with it. So it's the same thing with art and creativity. And if we can incorporate all that into one and help each other out, it works for me. So.
Absolutely. Nice. Hey, brother. Well, hey, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for spending the evening with us, man.
Hey, no problem, dude. It's great to see you guys. I will. Yeah, I will definitely be talking about the podcast. You're gonna have more than 12 subscribers. So,
Yay!
Thanks, man. My mom will appreciate that. All right, brother. Hey, I'll hit you up later. All right, man.
all right, sounds good, man.
All right, bye.
See you, man.
Later, brother.
Good
Bye,
to see
bud.
you guys.
I think I got it.